Welcome back to the show, folks. I am your host, Niall. This is the upper tier, and we're going to have a little kind of fun drive time on the way home. We're going to be talking about the rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, rocking up on WrestleDream last night, signed to AEW. Not so much a surprise. I think most people felt kind of listening to Edge's updates and stuff like that, that's kind of where it was going to go. But interesting to kind of delve into it and see what you guys think in the comments as well. How did you feel about it? We know that there's always a kind of a mix of fans. You're either in camp WWE or you're out on the indies in AEW, and then we have that kind of middle ground that people sit where they follow a lot of wrestling, which is kind of where I sit as well. Although I love WWE, but listen, I love watching good wrestling as well. But let us know your thoughts on this. Obviously, WrestleDream, the conclusion of it last night, outcomes. Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar. Obviously, Alter Bridge's Metalingus rings out, which kind of feels weird, doesn't it? It kind of feels weird when, you know, a wrestler that you've been looking at for 20 odd years, whatever it is now, maybe even longer, you know, he comes out to a new place and it's the same guy and the same music and very much the same entrance. We got the smoke effect with him walking through and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we'll touch on what he spoke about in the scrum after it and stuff like that, which gives us a little bit of a flavour of, you know, how big a decision it was to make to go there. You know, I mean, it's an interesting one. I have a personal situation there where himself and Beth popped into the shop one evening. They're the most nicest, super down-to-earth people that you'll ever meet. He was over here working on Vikings. It was their wedding anniversary. She came over. A friend of mine, Mark Retton, told them about the shop. He was dropping into Mark in a supplement shop, picking up like protein bars and stuff like that and all. And Mark told him to drop in if he was ever in town. On one Thursday evening, we were open late. It was lashing rain. The two of them walked in, and I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. So nice. He FaceTimed Hillary. Hillary was a big Edge fan for years and stuff like that, and I was talking to Beth, and she sat down and we were talking about family life and the kids and balancing work and family life and all that, just general kind of stuff that you speak about, that you would talk about with your friends. Such a nice conversation, such a nice moment for me and stuff like that. I've followed Edge's career for years. But WWE obviously dropped the ball on this because we found out that the rated R superstar trademark hadn't been renewed, and we've heard a lot of this over the last few years. But it was weird to see him there, and of course you'd have to come out during a Christian moment, wouldn't you? Because that kind of sets the narrative and stuff like that. But yeah, as I said, let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about this? Do you feel, you know, you'll see some WWE fans coming out today feeling betrayed by this move and stuff like that, and I'm sure this wasn't an easy move. It's an interesting one to think about it. We know he had been negotiating a contract with WWE. Obviously didn't happen or didn't reach what he wanted, or maybe the merger, the TKO situation and all put a different slant on it. We know they're trying to save 100 million in cost. Edge would be quite a big contract. Maybe they were looking and saying, well, look, his last run in here, there was, you know, the matches were, you know, they weren't scintillating in any way. They were good. You have to take into account the guy's age and all that kind of stuff. Also, he got injured, so he was out injured for a bit and stuff. The return at the Rumble was huge. It was great. Such emotion. But our TKO looking at it and go, maybe we need to move on from this situation. Maybe they made him an offer that wasn't big enough for him. He decided to move on. There's no doubt Tony Khan and AEW absolutely threw the bag at him. He's not in there for anything less than really, really top money. And fair play to him and stuff like that. But some of the flags that were raised during the scrum afterwards was the talk that he had signed a full-time contract, which for me would be kind of interesting and alarming. I think sometimes when you bring guys like this in, I think you have to be really so careful with them, especially when they're starting to pick up injuries and stuff like that and all. And, you know, also we know that he's come back from near paralysis, if you like, with the neck injury and all that kind of stuff. He went out of the business for, I don't know, what was it, 6, 8, 10 years or whatever it was, and then came back. So there would be a cairn. We all remember the emotion of when he had to retire and all that kind of stuff. It was a sad day. Look, we went through the whole Hall of Fame thing with him and everything and all. It was so emotional. Both him and Beth being Hall of Famers and stuff like that. So they're kind of woven into the fabric of WWE, you know, at every level. So I'm sure this decision wasn't taken too lightly. I'm sure this was a big decision that he made. Obviously it secures his family from a financial point of view, I would imagine, all that kind of thing. But it was interesting to see, he was talking about how excited he was being back there again. He said being back in around AEW and stuff like that felt like being back on the indies again, a Sexton Hardcastle and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. He looked like he was pretty happy. Talked about wanting to work guys like Samoa Joe and being in a ring finally with Sting and all these different kind of things, and so many options there from people that he could work with and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of get that, but there's always something in the back of my mind that sort of, you know, just says, you know, just be careful. You know, you came off that neck injury, you've picked up other injuries, you know, you have a great life. You know what I mean? Be careful how far you push that envelope. And we've seen it in AEW, no disrespect to them and stuff like that, but at times in there, it's quite reckless. And we've seen the injury stockpile in there as well. So this is something that has to be so careful. But Tony announced at the Scrum anyway, he's going to be on Dynamite this week and on Collision. And then next week on Dynamite, he's going to have a match on the titles Tuesday against Luchasaurus. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And Edge was obviously talking up Luchasaurus and stuff like that. And, you know, he was talking about, you know, how excited he was to be working with some of these younger guys and stuff like that. The usual stuff you get when I call him a veteran at this stage, comes in, big signing, you know, and people getting really excited. The reception he got off the AEW crowd was absolutely huge, but you'd expect nothing less. But let us know how you feel about it. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Just to me, it feels weird, you know, especially when it's, you know, it kind of felt a little bit weird as well with Punk as well, when Punk came out and, you know, Cult of Personality hits, you know what I mean? Jericho for me is a little different, because I feel with Jericho kind of, he'll still eventually probably go back to WWE to complete that circle at some stage. I do believe that, you know, and I probably believe Punk will probably do it too, probably sooner rather than later. So let us know your thoughts on this. Edge signed for AEW, full-time contract, so he's going to be on the weekly shows. Let us know what matchups you're looking forward to. Who could you match him up with at the moment? That'd be really cool. I don't know if I want to be getting matched up with Samoa Joe. We spoke about Samoa Joe. I don't know whether I want to be getting matched up with Samoa Joe and taking a couple of those muscle busters on already, let's say, a delicate neck situation. But look, we wish him the best. We'll definitely tune in. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But there was a lot of different responses I got this morning to this. So I thought I'd jump on and give my view. I don't know. I'm not too sure how this will go. But look, we wish it well. We hope it all goes well. And then he was asked, of course, the other thing he was asked is, does he see a situation where Beth eventually comes in and does work with AEW as well? And that would be very interesting to get Beth in there, especially with the women's division in there. Beth Phoenix would certainly be one who goes in there and brings credibility to that division. And let's be honest, they're starting to progress in terms of the women's division. Chris Statlander is very good, starting to get really, really good. Julie Hart, you look at that situation there, she's phenomenal, probably one of the most improved in there in terms of character, presentation and ring work and stuff like that. So there is a lot of positive stuff coming out of there as well. So, but Beth Phoenix in there would be very, very interesting, even if it's only in the background, if it's in coaching or whatever it is and stuff like that and all. But it'll be exciting to see how it goes, even though I'm still a little bit tentative on it. So let us know your thoughts on it. Just thought I'd jump on, quick show, give my thoughts on the Rated R superstar. Adam Copeland is now all elite. Cheers, folks. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, and of course share the content. Talk to you again real soon.